like the drama that kind of draws people in.
Totally.
This one is just like his day-to-day life, which I guess all of the shows are like their day-to-day life.
It's like the original vlog channel, yeah.
Yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey guys, welcome back to JEREC.
Guys, we've got a amazing episode for you guys today because the movie we're doing is amazing. Guys, we're doing The Truman Show. This is a Jim Carrey movie. He stars in it.
This is our last movie of the JEREC Marathon.
Yes,
After
the JEREC
today,
Jamboree.
we will be back to our weekly schedule of only posting one time.
Yep, posting on Tuesdays.
To clarify, not only starring Jim Carrey, also Aubrey Plaza.
Yeah, there's
A very young Aubrey Plaza.
Yeah, this is a great movie. Cash, give us a quick synopsis.
Alright, so there's this guy, Truman Burbank, and he kind of lives this idyllic, perfect life in a town called Seaview, right? And he's, you know, it's a perfect suburban town, everybody knows each other. Hi Truman, everything's perfect. Kind of reminded me of the beginning of the Barbie movie. When I was watching that, I was like, oh, this is
With
like
the hi
it's like
Barbie?
yeah, it's like the
Yeah.
opening of the Truman Show. Slowly he starts to realize that things are too calculated, right? This girl that he asks out, it goes too well. Of course, it falls apart. But, you know, things are happening where he notices that, you know, people, for instance, one of the earlier things is he notices the guys on the street aren't actually, you know, cleaning the street, which is like pretending to do their job.
Yeah.
Things are a little too calculated, and he slowly starts to realize, even, it really breaks through with the ones he's closest to, or lack thereof, that he is the star of a reality TV show, and he doesn't know it.
And they're following his life, looking at what he does daily, and like he starts noticing that the same thing's happening over and over again. And so like every morning he'll come out, and his neighbors are waiting for him to say, in case I don't see you, good morning, good evening, and good night.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening,
and good night.
Yeah.
And good evening. And so
Yeah, basically he's the star of a reality TV show that has the cameras rolling 24/7.
But you can't see the cameras. There's some clever trickery we were just talking about. We'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah.
But there was, you know, he almost dies at some point because, you know, even though it's comedy, it's also pretty dramatic. And there's a whole boating thing.
Yeah, it's a comedy. It's like a tragic comedy.
Yeah. But I'll save that for later.
Yep. All right, guys, hot takes, what you thought about the movie overall, and what you said walking out, watching it for the first time, second time, third time,
I
and
think
so
we can
forth.
all agree that this is a good movie.
Yeah, I don't think it's a hot
with a
take,
good
but
like
yeah.
story, like and
Yeah.
plot.
Yeah, in the nicest way possible. I don't have any hot takes on this movie just because I think it deserves all the accolades it's gotten.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hot take, Jim Carrey should have gotten an award for this movie. 100%. I don't think he did. I think he actually got passed up on, which is just bizarre. Because, I mean, this is an amazing film overall, and his acting in this movie is spot on. Him as Truman is the perfect casting, you could say. So,
Yeah. I think also the guy who plays the main commentator guy, the older dude.
Yeah.
What's the actor's name?
Don't know. I'm so bad at
I can't remember. I think his performance was great too. Obviously, a lot less nuanced. Like whereas Jim Carrey has to like channel like both sides. There's kind of a third wall he's doing there. It's less complicated of a performance, but it's also very creepy. You know, it's the first thing you see in the movie too is this dude's face, just like, this is the Truman Show. You know, like so we know for the longest time. Just a very intimidating presence. You know.
Yep.
Yeah, I actually do have a hot take about Jim Carrey.
What?
But it's just like about him in general. Like I'm not a huge fan of him or his movies. Just because I think it's just like very over the top, and
So you probably hate Adam Sandler, too.
yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Because like those like it just bothers me how it's the same thing every single movie that they do. In my opinion, to be like classified as a good actor or actress, you have to be able to do like a comedy show or movie and like be good at it. You can also do like a dramatic one and be good at it. Like you can do many different types of genres and be good and still do a good job. But with Jim Carrey and also, like you said, Adam Sandler, it's the same thing over and over and over again. There's
You like Will Ferrell the
there's
same
no
way?
variety.
I feel like I actually disagree with that completely. Because I feel like the fact of acting is that, like, actors who have found their thing and their niche, like, that they are cast in those movies and have essentially a monopoly on those movies. So, like, I mean, even, like, Harrison Ford, you see him, you go Han Solo and Indiana Jones. It's hard to watch him as anything else. If you saw Jim Carrey in a dramatic film, you're going to be like, why isn't he cracking up a joke? Like, it's kind of weird. It's actually weirder if you see an actor outside of their normal realm and what they're good at. Like, he's
Yeah, which
a
is
good
why,
actor.
in
That
my
proves the
opinion,
point.
he's just not that good of an actor because he can only do one thing.
Do you feel the same
but
way about
no,
Will
but
Ferrell?
the whole point
Yeah.
is that it is but
Like
the whole
all
point.
of those actors, but like Will Ferrell, he has done movies where it's like he was a little bit outside of that. So like those movies, I think are good. But like the actors that just do the same thing over and over again, me personally, I can't stand them.
That's
But-
fine. Jim Carrey, not in general, but specifically how Truman's haircut looks in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny because I have one friend named Sam. I always give him so much flack for that because he looks exactly like him.
He looks exactly like Truman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll show you all afterwards, but it's really funny. Yeah, I can understand that, but I also think that the Truman Show is so
Yeah, the Truman Show is definitely
Dimensional.
one of the
Yeah.
more like tragic ones he's done.
There's a lot of times in this movie where you go like, am I even supposed to be laughing at this?
Yeah,
You know?
it's dark humor for sure.
Yeah.
Such a good
I mean, it does play on the whole. I think the idea is like, well, like, cause I think this was in the I think '96 this came out, so a lot of sitcoms at this point had already started to adopt the whole laugh track thing, and I know a lot of them were live to make it authentic or whatever. But nonetheless, it was calculated, and so this is kind of playing a little bit on that, where you know you're putting these things that are supposed to be entertaining, have aesthetically pleasing backgrounds, but are ultimately really dramatic and are supposed to be lighthearted and fun. So it's like it's definitely meant to do that. Yeah, I think it's well executed. But again, that's not really a hot take. It's just praise of the movie. So
Yeah.
it's one of those rare cases where I think we had the same idea with Sound of Music, where I don't think we had many hot takes. Maybe I'm wrong, just because not only is this movie
It
great,
feels wrong to like
it does.
criticize
It does feel wrong to criticize it because not only is it a great movie, but it also gets a lot of hype. You know.
I don't feel like I have any real criticism though. Like I wasn't like, this is bad. Like, soundtrack's good. Like Jim Carrey's acting's good. Other than apparently Rennie thinks he's bad, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have any hot takes.
I mean, if you're gonna criticize any of the supporting cast, like Meryl or whoever, like their performances are supposed to be superficial.
Yes.
So it's
So they
kind of a
actually
clever
did a
way
good
to.
job at what they did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
did a good job like
Casting.
acting like how they were supposed to act.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was a quick hot take.
We're gonna move on to magic moments. This is our favorite scenes, the emotions, all of that. Who would like to start?
I can start. One of my magic moments is when Truman has sort of started to figure it out, and he's got his, I believe it's his wife in the car, and he's like, "Hold on." He's like, "There's a biker coming down that alleyway in 5 seconds," and she's like, "Truman." She's like, "You're crazy," and he's like, "Ah, look," and then he drives down, and it's like, and he's like describing the things around him that are happening, and it's one of those things where it's like, that's one of the moments where you're like, oh, like he's actually like. He's starting to figure it out. He's got it. You know,
Yeah.
That's a good magic moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think mine was same time frame, that like middle point of the movie when he's not 100% committed to this idea of escaping yet, is when he says he's trying to have like a serious conversation with his wife, and she's trying to sell him like this, like she's talking in kind of advertisement lingo about this like mocha powder thing.
Yeah, chocolate.
Mocha
Yeah.
something, and he's like, what's going on here? And she's like I taste the goodness of whatever in
Yeah,
every
yeah.
bite. And then he's like what is wrong with you? And then he's starting to freak out, and then she's like, and still talking like a very dramatized character, like you're having a nervous breakdown, honey, and like it feels so calculated, and he starts to go insane, and she like holds these like knives and spatulas and stuff in his face.
It's like a thing they sold earlier in the movie. It's on
Yeah.
TV, and they
But
bought
what's
it.
cool about that is that not only is it just a weird dialogue and a weird exchange, but also if you like, it cuts to her face, like you see from both their point of view, and when you see her point of view, you see a little
Camera
like
lens.
Camera.
camera lens, whereas his is just a regular first person POV.
Yep.
So it's like, oh, it's, I don't know if that's meant to imply that literally there's cameras in her face, but nonetheless,
Yeah,
it's that it's entirely
Yeah.
for gags.
I think a magic moment is not necessarily a scene, but like how they were able to place all of the cameras. Because like in order to capture every single one of his moves 24/7, they have to have a lot of cameras.
Yeah, and that same scene they did that pretty well.
And how they were able to like figure out where to put each camera perfectly so that one, he wouldn't see it, but they would still get every single shot that they needed. I just think that's genius.
In that same scene, they did that where after he takes the the utensils from his wife and holds them up like assassination style up to her face. After he holds up the knife up to her neck, he hears something and he looks up. It's like static or some very very somber sound effect. He looks up and then he realizes that there is a security camera there.
Yeah.
And that's the first time where he sees. I think that's the first time where he actually sees a camera.
Yeah.
As opposed to just weird things going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was clever because then it cuts to the surveillance and then you see the blue static overlay and then it cuts to the guys in the room like actually switching the cameras and it goes, okay, so this is like.
Yeah. Or also when he's driving in the car and there's like the commentary and the camera is like in his little air conditioning.
Yeah.
He taps into a radio frequency. Of one of the directors that's like he's coming down.
Yeah, and
like
he's like he's about to turn left, and then he like
Truman doesn't. He's like, huh?
And then they like read out the street, and he sees that he turned left.
And then they realize their frequency's being tapped into, and he's like, cut it.
And isn't it also like where he almost gets into an accident?
Yeah.
Because he's like focusing on.
They're at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
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 And like the idea that like, I think Magic Moment is like Truman trying to go on vacation. I think that's a funny moment. It's like he's like, I want to go on vacation, and they're like trying to figure it out, and he's like, well, you can go on vacation like this far out in advance in like 5 years or whatever, and like that's also kind of a funny joke and relatable to some people, like adults trying to travel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With their jobs and stuff.
Yeah.
That kind of brings me to the idea of if the point of this movie, a lot of people have interpreted it as like, oh, this is how like reality TV is manipulative. That's kind of niche. Like, why do you think it is that like us kind of laymen are able to relate to this so much? What is it about this? Is it just the sincerity of the dialogue and Jim Carrey's acting performance, or what is it about the moral of this movie that makes us like it makes it so emotionally resonant with people who are well outside of show business or whatever?
Yeah.
What do y'all think about that?
I think that's a good question.
I mean, I think the idea that you're being controlled or manipulated by anything
I feel like there's a lot of people who are like, oh, we're living in a simulation, and it's kind of like a joke, and people joke about it all the time.
I don't know, some people genuinely believe that.
Yeah, like, for most people, it's a joke, but then there's, like, a few people who are like, no, guys, like, life is fake. Like, we're all being controlled, or, like, or have you guys ever thought of, like, what if I'm the only one who's, like, in the simulation and all my friends are, like, fake?
Yeah. Oh, totally.
And then, like, when you get to that, then you, like, really weird yourself out. Because to think about that is, like, kind of weird. Or what I always say is, like, it's really weird to think about how, like, my family members have a life outside of being my family members. Like, my sister has her own life. She goes to school. She has, like, her own friends, all that. And she's not just my sister. And that's also, like, kind of weird to think about if you, like, really, really, really think about it.
And in this case, that question's kind of, that problem's already solved, right? Because it's like, these people are only their assigned roles.
Yeah. Like, those people are actors.
Yeah.
So to him, all of those questions is like, there's a very simple answer.
Yeah, and even if you're not, some sort of, nihilist, solipsist or whatever, like the idea that you're escaping from sort of like, that you're actually taking control of your own life and your own initiative, and as opposed to like, serving someone else's function, I think is kind of pretty universal for us. So.
Also with this, it's like, how much of our life and our decisions is actually our own with social media being as big as it is?
Yeah.
Because like with all of the media and everything that like people are consuming every day, how much of like your own thoughts are actually your own thoughts, and not just like something you saw or something you heard.
That's well said. Even if people aren't able to pick up on that, I think this movie proves pretty well that the idea of a character, the setting being somewhat, not necessarily realistic, but in a situation that you're able to relate to, that doesn't have to be anywhere in the story for you to be able to feel emotionally very connected to it.
Yeah.
Like I think when especially every conversation that Truman has with Meryl is like, you're like, oh yeah, like I can totally put myself in his shoes here. But it's also like, well, yeah, I'm not in a reality show, but it's I think it's the way it's written, the lightheartedness of it.
But also, I don't necessarily think it's just because, like, the reality TV show, even though, like, there's a lot of reality TV shows that people really like, for example, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, a lot of people really like that. It's a stupid show, but I feel like it's also, like, the drama that kind of draws people in.
Totally.
This one is just like his day-to-day life, which I guess all of the shows are like their day-to-day life.
It's like the original vlog channel, yeah.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, I realized this wasn't explained in the Harry Potter episode. Whenever I introduce I like to do my EJ impression because, she's not here.
Well, she introduced it for Harry Potter.
She did for Harry. Oh, I guess it was Diary of Wimpy.
Yeah, Diary of
It got
Wimpy.
cut off, and I was like, oh yeah. People probably just thought I was doing a random zesty voice for no reason.
No, I feel like the OG viewers now.
The OG viewers know, but yeah, for any of our new fans.
Any of y'all OGs?
The OG fans.
But EJ
squad?
would introduce the segment like, all right, guys. Moving on to our next segment. You all know it. You all love it. It's basically moments that made you go, huh? So, anyone like to start us off?
I don't really have a whole lot of huh moments for this movie.
I feel like this movie is kind of straightforward.
I have one.
What?
When closest to the beginning, before he ends up with Meryl, when he asks out that other girl, not Aubrey Plaza, but the blonde lady, and he like leaves a note or something, and then she writes like now in the journal, which granted I think is meant to be another kind of minor detail where he's like, oh, something's not right here. But we don't really know that yet.
Well,
and
she wasn't allowed to talk to him.
Yeah.
Because she was just a secondary actor who was supposed to just be in the library.
But that catches you because you don't expect that to happen so early on. It catches you so off guard, and you're like, what is going on here?
You're like, huh?
Yeah. Literally, I was like, huh?
Yeah.
I was like, huh? You have a hum.
Anyways, my one huh moment
There you go.
is that, so they can control the weather, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why haven't they been doing this, like, basically the whole time? It's all sunshine and rainbows. And then finally when he's on the sea, they're like, storm, big storm.
Well, they were
big
trying
storm.
to kill him.
But that's, yeah.
Or basically trying to kill him.
Yeah, and then everybody was like, no, don't kill Truman. And
Yeah.
he was like, do it anyways. And then he still escapes.
Okay, but also, like, with that, since it's supposed to be, like, his life is perfect, no one's gonna have, like, a perfect life if it's not sunshine and rainbows every single day.
I guess.
You know, like, that is, like, when people think of, like, oh, like, a happy day, sunshine. And when people think of, like, a sad day where you don't want to be productive, rain. So,
I don't know. I'm crazy. I love rain. Like, I'm so productive.
I hate rain.
Dude,
I
that
feel
big
like- okay, no, but,
thunderstorm
like-
that happened last night, I literally sat on my back porch and just played guitar and was chilling.
See, I like
And,
that too, but also you can't take a shower during a thunderstorm without feeling uneasy, so I don't, that's the reason. I like rain, but thunder, I'm like,
Yeah, but then, like, there's also,
do your
like,
thing.
but what I'm like, when it's sunshine and it's sunny, you, like, feel
I
happier.
get what you mean, I get what you mean.
And then when it's, like, rainy and cloudy,
You're like,
then
I feel
you're
like doing
ugh.
nothing. I
And you're
get
like,
you.
why do I have to be productive today? Like, why do I have to be a human today?
Yeah. And that depends on how many vitamin D pills you take. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, in that sense, it's almost like the Truman Show is like the male Barbie.
That's a good way to put it, actually.
little bit,
It's like a
yeah.
caricature of a guy who has a good life.
Yep.
Yep.
I think that's fair. A little bit.
And then it all, yeah, and then towards the end, it, like...
And then it collapses and he has to escape and make some sort of
Well,
social
yeah,
change.
because he's
Yeah.
basically being, like, manipulated and controlled, just like Barbie is.
Yeah.
Truman Show magic moment. One of them is at the very end when he's about to escape and he finds the door.
Yeah.
And he turns around and he goes, if I don't see you, fuck you. Which was so funny.
Oh, I thought you were worried about spoiling it. Also, that's the
I-
coolest set design ever. When
For
he
real,
walks
though.
through that, it looks like
Yeah.
a 2D Nintendo game.
Yes, and it's so cool. But it was funny how like everybody was like, he's gonna say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening.
Yeah.
And
It reminded me a bit of like Anchorman, which I know probably pisses Rennie off, but when he like messes up the teleprompter.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that was a very, very good magic moment. But
Sure.
and my brother watched this movie and then continued to say, I wish we could have seen Truman's life after. Which me and my other brother Isaac had to explain to him that
That's the
that
whole
was
point.
the whole point. But his
Yeah.
aha moment was, why can't we see Truman Show after? So I was like, no, that's the whole
The
point.
whole point was that he was escaping a reality show.
And
And now
so
you
you
want to
can't
make it
see
into
him, you
another
don't see
reality
him.
show? Yeah.
The whole point is that he's escaping being filmed and shown
We could do
24/7.
you could do a Truman documentary, so like after, and Truman can make it. Same.
Very few times have we had things challenge the status quo of.
I feel like you guys are gonna hate me.
Oh, you're gonna put it so low. But
Should
me
we
and Josh
text
are gonna
Emma?
Fight. We're gonna
No,
fight.
we're not
No,
gonna-
because EJ already gave us hers.
Yeah.
What was hers?
Oh, by the way, so
So
guys,
EJ decided to give us her ranking,
yesterday
and
in
she
the
put it
Twilight
at
episode.
number 4.
Wait, which will be below what?
Return of the Jedi above Indiana Jones Last Crusade,
Yeah.
which
Okay.
Last Crusade
I can get behind that.
yeah, should be higher. Harry Potter, Breakfast Club, Return of the Jedi, Indiana Jones Last Crusade, 10 Things I Hate About You, Tangled, Sound of Music, Empire Strikes Back, Die Hard, Elf. Where does it end up for you? Rennie, you start and set the bar as low as you possibly want, because I know dang well where I'm going to put it.
Okay, here's the thing. I am very, very, very much biased because my 2 favorite movies are on the top 10, and they're right here at 5 and 6.
Which one? I can't see
One
which
of my
ones are there.
top favorite movies is at 11.
Which means I would technically put it above Sound of Music, but I'm not insane. I'm gonna put it. I can't put it above 10 Things I Hate About You. I just can't. I'm gonna put it below 10 Things I Hate About
Which
You, but
is
above
what number? I
Tangled,
can't see.
which is new number 6.
Okay.
Cash?
I think I'm having trouble because of what happened with Harry Potter. There are certain Harry Potter films I would put pretty high. I would put in the top 10. At least 2 of them I would put in the top 10. But it's a struggle because as much as I want to say, oh, Truman Show should go above Harry Potter, I also think that because our competition is Breakfast Club and Return of the Jedi, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it should go just below Breakfast Club.
I
You
think
put
this
it
is.
at 3.
I would put this at new number 1. This is one of my top 3 favorite movies.
I was gonna say that, but also it's like
my
so
top
tough.
3
Oh,
movies
guess
are
this is
not.
not better
None
than
of
the
them are
Harry
on.
Potter
None of them.
franchise.
None of my top 3 are on the list. This is my first one. This is a number 1 movie.
If I was on a deathbed, I would watch this movie or anything else in the top 10.
Yeah, this is.
Not me.
I would put Truman Show on this list. Rennie, you're biased because apparently you hate Jim Carrey. So number 1, number 3, and number 6 technically meeting in the middle would be number 3 with Cash. So right under
Yeah.
Breakfast Club.
I guess I can
Right
get
on.
behind that.
Wait,
You-
is that where
well, you
EJ
have
wanted
to.
it? What did EJ
EJ
want?
They put it at
we
4.
We're
So-
very slowly pushing the holiday movies off of the top 10.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, holiday movies are phenomenal. But y'all put Home Alone.
I'm telling
below
you, a
Elf,
doctor
so-
says you have 24 hours to live. You're telling me you wouldn't watch The Truman Show over anything else?
No, absolutely
I
not.
100% would. We take EJ's into concern too, because EJ put it at below Return.
It would
Cash
still
put
be.
it at-
It would still be 3. I've already
Oh yeah,
compromised.
okay.
What is
Guys,
Compromise.
guys, we can't keep putting 10 Things I Hate About You that low.
We have another new top 10. Harry Potter, Breakfast Club, Truman Show, Return of the Jedi, Last Crusade, 10 Things I Hate About You, Tangled, Sound of Music, Empire Strikes Back, and Die Hard. And that is our current JEREC top 10. Guys, thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you watching this awesome week. We hope you enjoyed it. If you missed an episode, go back and watch it. We posted Monday through Friday, as this does come out Friday. And then we will catch y'all next week with... Are we starting with Interstellar?
We were starting with La La Land.
La La Land. Guys, we will catch y'all with La La Land next week, which is a phenomenal movie. Cannot wait. Cash, what are you going to say?
Oh, only I'm saying we have to end this episode with a different
Oh.
closer. You JEREC fans who are watching this in the AM, good morning.
Good
In,
afternoon.
in case I don't see you, good afternoon,
Good afternoon.
good evening,
Good evening.
and good night.
night.